Good afternoon, and welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. Well, that makes it even more special, since you're a huge fan of the show. Well, glad you could finally make it on the show. So, you brought in quite an interesting and massive Civil War collection. Where did you get such a collection from? I see. So, passed down through generation after generation. Well, I must say I am surprised at how magnificent the condition is of all of these items. I can see that very well taken care of. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, family heirlooms, they contain memories. Memories that need to be cherished and passed on through the generations of the family. I agree. Well, what can you tell me about some of the items that you've brought in today? Do you know much about the American Civil War, or yes. Well, I see there's quite a variety of items. I see we have some officers' epaulets, as well as a sword. We have the drum set, the trumpet, quite a variety. Well, it's a good thing he did. So, the first thing I'd like to take a look at here is I'd like to look at the kepi. You don't know what a kepi is? Well, it's a hat. The kepi is a hat. Do you mind if I pull down the hat and handle it? I promise to handle it with extreme care, as with all items that are brought in. Thank you. Now, the kepi is a type of hat worn by, both the Union and Confederacy. Alright, this here would be a Union kepi, the navy blue. Okay, so a Confederate kepi would be, gray. But wow, this is in very pristine condition. All the leather is in great shape. Looks like there's 0 cracks. The stitching is quite exquisite. Even the leather strap, the leather sweatband inside is in extremely great condition. holes and patches. Same thing with the coat. The leather will start getting really dried out and cracked. You'll just start seeing cracks and start peeling. Yeah. And then of course inside the kepi, this liner of fabric. Usually that's all stained, worn, and just crumbling at the touch. Then of course the sweatband is usually all disformed, discolored, and just crumbling all over the place. Yeah. The brass buttons with the eagle and shield. Absolutely beautiful. Now, usually the brass will start getting real discolored, like a greenish color. And it'll start getting everywhere. You'll see discoloration around. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with the trumpet. The brass on the sword starts getting green. Yeah. But, some interesting facts about the kepi. Now, where do you think its origins come from? Just by looking at it. Close, very close. It actually has French roots. Well, the design came from the French Army's kepi, like such. A shorter, more fitted cap replaced the tall shako, I believe it is. Now, the American adaptation. Okay, so the U.S. Army adopted the style, of course, especially what was that? I think it was the model 1858 forge cap. The 1857 or 1858 forge cap. But it was more simplified, a softer version of the French kepi, becoming standard issue for, Union and Confederate troops. So, pretty interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Now, the structure, of course, like I said, a short wool crown, leather visor and strap, buckle, brass buckle, and of course the brass buttons, and of course rank insignia, But it's a very interesting cap, very interesting indeed. You do? You have a replica? Oh, you heard it? Well, that is really neat. I actually believe if I had myself one, I might wear it as well. Oh, they are comfortable. Oh, I've heard from different reenactors and other historians that have actually tried them. They say that they're not very comfortable at all. most complain about, they're tight or just, straight hard as a rock. But you say it's comfortable. Well, I might have to get one and try it out. Now, the next thing I'd like to take a look at is this beautiful little instrument here, the bugle. Now, this is an exquisite shape. I mean, I see some wear and some green. Let me get my magnifying glass. And I'll give you a closer look. And we're also going to look for some insignia. This should have US stamped somewhere on its person. Let me get my magnifying glass. Okay, so if you take a look here, you see right around the edges, yeah, there's some wear. Not much, but it's to be expected. I mean, this bugle is possibly, up there in age. That's for sure. I see some more wear right there in the center. You see that there? Go ahead and take a look. See right there? Right down that center. I also do not, unfortunately, see any insignia of any sort. Sometimes it gets worn off, but I don't even see anything closely resembling but it is, however, a very nice bugle. But I don't think that this particular bugle was used in the Civil War. I think this might be either a school bugle, the American Boy Scouts, or, even just a replica, unfortunately. But it is a really beautiful bugle. It really is. See something, some wear in here. Actually, if you take a look right in here, you can see that it was cheaply manufactured. Let me get my pointer. Okay. Now, you see in here? See all that? Yeah. That shows cheap manufacturing. And even the sound. Doesn't sound like it's the right metal. And this could even be scratch it just a little bit to see if it's, like paint or anything like that. Okay. It won't even be noticeable. Okay, so the wear and tear seems to be legitimate. So I'm thinking that this is just a replica. Maybe one of your relatives down the line wanted to replace the bugle. And couldn't afford an official one, so they just got a little cheap replica to fill its place. Oh, absolutely. Now, I see you also have some insignia. With you today, including an official U.S. Union belt buckle. We have 2 lieutenant epaulets. I believe that's lieutenant, yes. As well as the cavalry swords. Now, you mind if I take a look at these, see how, how legitimate these are? There's, a certain way that they're manufactured. And, this one seems to be real. I can see the details that would officially be placed. That is a very beautiful piece and is 100% legitimate. Now, with epaulets, again, moths, this wool, they love it. They absolutely love it. They love thread as well. But these are in fantastic condition. Look at it. Take a look at the stitching. The beautiful stitching within these epaulets. It's just amazing. The quality and the care that's put into these items. They're in great shape, both of them. You can feel, this is not a cheap manufacturing. This is quality. The threads are nice and tight. There's nothing loose, nothing unraveling. Beautiful quality. As for the belt buckle, again, I had to check with my magnifying glass, just to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. Yes. Oh. I believe that is a ricochet. A ricochet from a bullet. Well, it's actually quite amazing to see, a legitimate belt buckle. Most belt buckles that are found, a lot of them are, completely, eroded away or just, damaged out of proportion. And of course the discoloration as well. But this one is fantastic. Oh, you do. So you are quite an avid military collector. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, if you ever get all of the World War II stuff, as well as the Vietnam, all together, maybe you'll end up on the show again. I'd love to see it. As a matter of fact, maybe you could call me personally. You can call my office. That would be great. Alright, well, speaking of insignia, ranking, such and so forth, here we have an officer's sash. Now this here is, a beautiful sash. It has all these gold hangings here. Stitching is amazing. Look at that. Beautiful stitching. And then of course, you have the sash itself, which is quite long. Wow, I am shocked that this is still in the shape it's in. There's no stains. There's no moth holes. I don't even think there's a thread out of place. Absolutely beautiful. Now, one thing to check is to see if any of these are missing. Any of these hanging trussels. No, they seem to be all there. I must congratulate and thank as well your relatives for taking such magnificent care of these items. You even have an officer's personal effects chest, a lap desk, an officer's field desk. That is amazing. The sword. The holster. The leather holster with the U.S. emblem. It's in a beautiful shape. Wow. You know, usually the duty belt gear is usually some of the first stuff to go. You know, it's exposed to the elements. You know, it's just getting banged around and all dirtied up. And that is amazing. See, you also have the ammo pouch. This is one of my favorite pieces of gear. You know, this is such a nice little pouch. And I love the attachment that keeps it closed. It's like a little spike. It just adds to the, you know, seriousness of the item. But, yeah, the leather is amazing. See, it even has the cotton right here. Now, do you know what this is for? This cotton. That's right. That's exactly correct. The cotton is used for, you know, as you're moving around, you don't want all your stuff going jingle jangle so the enemy can hear you. No. You want it nice and quiet, but still easily accessible. So, add a little cotton in there, or cloth. You know, a lot of times this would get worn out, so soldiers just stick whatever in there. Grass, anything to keep it quiet, you know. But, wow, this is in an excellent shape. Beautiful. Let's take a look at the drum. I'm very curious about this drum. Well, that's the thing. You know, a lot of times, you know, exposure, and a lot of times the drummer was up front. So, a lot of times the drummer did not make it out, neither did the drum. So I'm very interested to see if this is legitimate. So far it looks legitimate, but it could be a replica. Alright, well, the drumsticks are definitely new. These are more modern drumsticks here, and they're in too pristine condition. If they were real drumsticks, the handles would have, you know, more wear on them. You know, they'd be discolored, they'd be more darker from, like, you know, sweat and, you know, and just, you know, dirt and rope is really, really nice. But you never know. Let's see. Yeah, I think this. No. Definitely. Yep. I see plastic in the string. So the rope was definitely replaced. That feels, I think that feels replaced as well. I'm thinking that it's a replacement as well. Kind of like the bugle. Which is expected, and of course, a collector's going to want, something to at least represent that item in your collection. So, a replica is perfect. But yes, I'm pretty sure this is just a replica, but it is a very nice replica. Looks great. Now, the next thing I'd like to take a look at is the jacket. I want to check over it, look for any damages, make sure it's legitimate. I'd like to take a look at that sword afterwards. I'm quite excited for the sword. So, let me get the jacket and we'll take a look at that. Well, here we have it. And it is not disappointing at all. Look at this beautiful jacket. Collar is beautiful. Has the yellow around the neck, around the edge. This is an officer's jacket. As you can see, also the yellow stripe along the wrist of the arm. That's on both sides. Beautiful brass buttons with the eagle and shield right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you have 3 on each sleeve. But yeah, the jacket is amazing condition. Like I said, this should be completely moth-eaten. Just holes everywhere. I've seen some jackets, so there's barely anything left, bits and pieces are just gone. It's a shame. But this is such a beautiful jacket. Do you mind if I open it up and we can take a look inside? Thank you. Alright, gotta be as gentle as we can with these buttons. see it has that same fabric as the kepi inside. And that lining is usually completely obliterated. But not here. It's beautiful. All around. Now the only pocket this coat has is right here. Just one little pocket. Oh yes. The arms are a little stained, but you know, the staining of the lining of the arms, you know, is to be expected. So, but otherwise, they seem to be in great shape. No holes or tears. It's almost as if this jacket's brand new. But I can tell it is legitimate and not a replica. That is absolutely amazing. Well, let me put this back and then we'll take a look at this sword. That is a beautiful sword. Beautiful brass fitting. Now, little fun fact. Do you know what this is for? It can be, yes. Usually for bashing. Or hammering, or crushing, or splitting open things. So, yeah. Beautiful leather handle. This beautiful gold stitching right here. We take a look. Just look at the quality and craftsmanship in this sword. Look at that beautiful gold stitching right here. Absolutely breathtaking. I mean, look at the brass fitting here, the hand guard. Just beauty put into this stuff. Just the amount of quality and effort that's put into these types of things. It's amazing. Now, a lot of times soldiers hated this thing. One nickname for it is the wrist breaker. Because the way you have to pull it out of its sheath attached to your hip, and it just really messes up your wrist. But soldiers did not like carrying this around. Not only was it, bulky, but it was heavy as well. So just really awkward having this thing around. But, having it meant an honor. You either got this because you were an officer, or, you got it as an award. The sword is, it's not just a weapon, it's also a symbol. Okay, it has symbolism. It symbolizes honor, integrity, courage, bravery, sacrifice, the works. So it's really a medal all on its own. But it's just way too darn heavy and too bulky for practical use. Unless you're a pirate. They seem to have it packed. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. But I'm sure they had their problems too. But yeah, most soldiers, you know, especially like the cavalry, you know, they really didn't want this thing at all. They wanted the rifles, they wanted pistols instead of this thing handed to them. But, you know, it might be heavy, it might be bulky, but it's a beaut. So, the last thing I'd like to take a look at is this right here. The officer's field desk, or lap desk. This is a smaller one, so this would be the lap desk. Now, that there is the officer's personal effects chest. I'm not going to take a look at that. I'm just taking a look at this one for curiosity's sake. I've only seen one. Only one. So I'm interested to, you know, have the opportunity to check this out. Right? Just imagine all the work, planning, strategy, and emotion that happened right here. It definitely, you know, makes you think about things. Alright, so what we have here this is where it would take place. Right here. This is where all the battle plans, the troop plans, letters to home, letters to senior officers, requests, denials, just a lot of emotion and a lot of important things happened right on this board. Amazing. Then of course we have the little pen tray right here with a piece of a pen. Then you have your inkwell, which has definitely got some wear on there, some erosion and stuff. Now we open it up. There's even more. So we have a filing cabinet for sorts, an in and an out. And inside we have some more secret little things going on here. Got three little trays for certain items. Big space here. And a little drawer with, what's this? A nail, which is actually pretty much time accurate. It's a square nail. As well has a little cast iron lucky horseshoe. Sounds like something that would be a good thing to keep in there during the war. We have some twine. I think this is actually, wow, that's from that time frame. And then a collection of buttons. Probably uniform buttons. But, wow. I gotta say thank you for, allowing me to, taking the time to bring this stuff in to share with us today. It's not every day that we come across such, mind-blowing items. I'm sure you're wondering, what is this collection worth? Well, minus the drum, the bugle, and the canteen, I would place everything else, the kepi, the jacket, the sword, the two officers' chests and desk, the holster, I'd say around, in today's market, approximately anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for the entire collection. That is a very good deal. I am very happy that you are satisfied. And I'm also happy to hear that you're going to keep it in the family. That's where it belongs. Well, thank you for coming in today and sharing these items with us. It was an absolute delight. And I hope to see you bring in your World War II and Vietnam memorabilia as well. You take